loading up the map.
So I guess it was Dead Ops Arcade for some reason.
All right, so welcome to the Boys Experience, where we're gonna kind of talk over gameplay in a podcast way on topics that we find interesting. So with me today, I have Dakota and Kyle. You guys go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I guess I'll go first. My name is Dakota. In-game name you'll see DJ Nicely.
And my name is Kyle, and my name is Smallbean in game.
And I am Ghost, the person that is recording right now. We're going to be recording the first episode. Figure we record an introduction, so that way it wasn't awkward. We weren't just jumping into random topics like we are going to. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's start jumping into the topic. So, mac and cheese ice cream. How do you guys feel?
I forgot that was the first topic.
I honestly forgot that this was I saw the second topic and I didn't think about it. It's weird. That's my first thought is like, why is this a thing?
So, if I think about it for a second, I can slightly understand like where it came from, right? Like the combination of like sweet and salty, right? It's the same thing as like caramel corn and shit like that.
Right.
But I think it went a bit too far with mac and cheese flavored ice cream.
Yeah. I feel that totally. I feel like there's a line that has to be drawn on. It's like Pop-Tarts and their issue with let's create any flavor we can and put it in a Pop-Tart.
Yeah, Pop-Tarts is pretty bad at that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they would do some shit like that. Except this time it's Kraft mac and cheese ice cream. Was it Kraft? I thought I saw Kraft.
I think
it is
it
now.
is. Yeah. What's the ice cream company that's making it? I don't remember. Is it it's one of the like smaller pint ones, almost like
Yeah, almost
Tom
like
and Jerry's,
Tom
not
and
Tom and Jerry's, fucking Ben and Jerry's.
Ben and Jerry's.
It's one of those like smaller pint ones, but I don't remember which company it is.
Yeah, I
It
can't
definitely is
remember.
Ben and Jerry's.
Ben and
I don't
Jerry's.
think
Because
it
they have very interesting titles for their stuff. I wouldn't say original for flavors, but
Here.
with the titles,
I'm gonna check real quick.
They're always
Since we're-
looking for the new. They seem to be the ice cream company that's always looking for the new type of thing to make. You know, like what's the next ridiculous thing they can make before anybody else can?
It's made by Van Leeuwen, which is, as described on this article I'm looking at, a hip Brooklyn-based ice cream company.
A hip Brooklyn. What? When you're describing something as hip, what does that even mean?
I guess it means they're an ice
It's
cream
hip with the
maker
kids,
that,
man.
that makes macaroni and cheese ice cream is what it means.
They're with the times.
I will say that this advertisement is written as it was not written by someone at our age. Definitely not.
No, for
Yeah,
100%.
well, I mean, I feel like anyone that came up with this idea was not our age.
Yeah.
No, definitely
Like,
not.
they're either extremely old or they're like they took
They're
a
bored.
child's idea.
Yeah, they were listening to their kid on the couch. It was
Yeah,
like,
'cause,
I
like,
want mac and cheese but ice cream.
If you listen to me as like a child, I'm sure that I could have come up with this idea.
Yeah, that is something that I would have thought about as a child. Like if I could combine two things.
But like nobody with their like right mind would have heard me say that as a child and been like, you know what, let's do it.
Yeah.
However, it does say on the thing, I'll give them credit for this, it does say limited edition.
Oh, it's a limited edition item.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean,
That's definitely another selling point.
yeah.
Would be that this is limited. You can't really get this at another time after.
I think
they're
they're
all out.
almost going for I think they're almost going for like an outrage marketing type approach.
So like they're trying to maybe I don't know. So
It's like a shock value type thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
Do you think collectors will buy into it?
Oh, I mean, collectors buy into anything that's collectible. That's
Yeah.
the point of it, right? So,
They have to keep
I
it at a
mean,
certain temp to make sure it's good.
yeah, the only question is like, how collectible will this be in 10 years, right? Like,
Yeah, and who's actually wanting that? What's the market for that? Because everything has a market in
Yeah.
it, but like it depends on like how big that market is on what the value should be set at. That's like with Pokemon cards. It's
Yeah.
the value of Pokemon cards are super high because the market for it is so huge.
watch out for the train, by the way, it'll kill
Yeah.
you.
Also, it depends. It depends what cards in that sort of sense. Like, what are expensive, what's not. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
say like a Charizard is gonna be more expensive than like, I don't know, like
Well, that's the thing, they
Weevil
could-
or something.
You know what they could do is they could make the mac and cheese thing based off of like, oh, is your mac and cheese ice cream actually still intact or is it melted? Like that's the type of rules that they could enforce on it maybe? I don't know. I feel like it's really hard to collect something that's supposed to stay frozen or be eaten. I don't know
Yeah,
if there's a market for that.
I mean, I definitely feel like the collectible food market is mostly like like if you look at something like Good Mythical Morning or something like that, right? Like they do stuff like that all the time. They'll buy like 60-year-old collectible chocolate bars or stuff like that. And they'll like open them and see if they're still like edible or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Or like those I don't know if you've seen it, but those World War II enthusiasts.
Yeah,
they
like
go
the
to
MREs.
Yeah, they go look for the MREs that were on the battlefield, and they'll actually find some, and they'll eat them.
Yeah. Yeah. Another that's also pretty similar.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it's like that, but there's not like a value really on that for most people. Most people, as far as I've known, you can't sell that. I don't know if that would change or be different. Probably not. It's such a weird thing seeing brands like Ben and Jerry's, Pop Tarts, all these people making these really weird inventions when it comes to like, oh, what kind of flavor can we come up with now? Because
Yeah.
they're running out, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's only
There's only so much you can do.
yeah, I feel like there's only not only that, but there's only so many ice cream flavors that are actually good, right?
Yeah.
Like
There's only so many things that you could put in ice cream that's gonna make it taste good, and that's kind of what it's like with Pop Tarts. Just the brand Pop Tarts does not seem to care. they throw it at anyway. They know
Yeah.
somebody's in the market for it. But
Yeah.
that's it's a pretty interesting topic, pretty interesting one.
yeah, I mean, I feel like that brings up a whole nother thing, like the Pop
Yeah.
Tarts conversation, because Pop Tarts, like, legitimately feels like Pop Tarts will make anything a flavor just to see what happens.
Yeah, they kind of throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, in a sense. They're always looking for. They're like, oh man, there's got to be one person. It makes me
Yeah,
wonder if
like-
Pop Tarts are just that easy to make. Or
Oh,
like
well, I'm sure they
manufacture.
are. I'm sure they.
Because they wouldn't be doing it. I can imagine if it was hard to manufacture like a large amount of Pop Tarts. So it must be easy to like just. Oh yeah, let's do this. You know, like that, just for them to be like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, no, I could almost guarantee you that it costs like maybe 2 cents to make a pack of Pop Tarts.
Yeah.
Like the way that
sounds
they
about
make
accurate.
them, like I would not doubt it at all. Like I'm sure an entire pack of Pop Tarts, like an 8-pack of Pop Tarts, including the packaging on there, probably maximum costs 80 cents to make them. I'm sure.
Yeah. It's like the market's changing all the time though. And then speaking on the market of changing, let's go into more game and shit where you guys seen the Steam Deck and what it has to offer for the gamers on PC. What are your guys' thoughts so far on that? Seeing Valve get into a handheld console.
I feel like I'm not surprised by it, especially since Nintendo Switch is pretty successful, I'd say. I think at least.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends how they're gonna go about marketing it, as well as what they do with it. And
Right.
if there's gonna be exclusive games, if there's gonna be all of your games are gonna be on it, I'm assuming, from your Steam account.
Right.
But how it's actually gonna run as well.
Right, will it run all those Steam games? Will it that you have on Steam already? And if not, what's the actual limitations of the product? They didn't really describe that. They didn't really outright say, "Oh, there will be limitations." They just said, "Ah, yeah, here's our product
Yeah.
coming to you."
Right. So, I was reading like a little bit about it, right? Like that's earlier when I was talking about how it said it had like 16 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM and stuff like that. It says it's supposed to be like 1080p quality on the screen is what it says.
Right.
So it's supposed to come with 1080p quality, 16 gigabytes of RAM. I think they've got like a specially built like CPU and GPU that they made specifically for it.
Yeah.
And they said it's going to be customizable frame rate and graphics for the Steam games that you have.
Really? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and they said the battery life can be 2 to 8 hours depending on what graphical settings you put on and what game you're playing.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of negative stuff about the battery. I've heard that it's 8 hours of screen on time, but light gaming. So most likely like 2 hours.
That's what they were saying in the thing. The thing I was looking at said specifically what was I saying? It said specifically like for instance, you could play Portal 2 for 4 hours without for a maximum of 4 hours. At 60 FPS. But if you took it down to 30 FPS, your time could go from 4 hours on Portal 2 to up to 6 hours on Portal 2.
Right. And that's what's interesting about something like that. And I think that it being only $400, it sounds like a steal, but there's so many caveats to it, in my opinion, that they're not, that are not fully announced yet that are going to play into whether, hey, I want this or hey, I don't want this. Because it's a really, really cool concept, because I've always wanted, handheld PC gaming, even though you're playing technically on a controller, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's like the thing where they have a TV dock for it, but they're selling it separately from the initial product.
Yeah, and you were telling me that
whereas like
before
the
we were recording.
Switch, yeah, whereas
Unlike the Switch that comes with it.
Yeah, you buy the Switch unless you buy the Switch Lite, which doesn't even connect to a dock, in which case it doesn't matter. But like when you buy the Switch, it comes with the dock, right? So like you don't have to worry about having to spend extra money to buy the dock if you want it.
Right.
It just comes with it. So I feel like they're kind of cash grabbing that aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
To a degree, just to see like how much they can make out of it. But
yeah.
I kind of understand at the same point, because if they're making it as a handheld console, right? Like,
yeah.
They're marketing it that way, and they might just be including the TV dock just like if someone wants it, right?
Yeah.
So I can kind of see both ways on that, but at the same time, I feel like if you're gonna make it at all, you might as well just include it.
Include the dock, yeah. And I felt that was pretty controversial in itself, like not including a dock on something to mount it to a TV, because most people are probably gonna mount it to a TV. That's the whole idea, right? You're probably on vacation, you're with the boys, chilling, gaming, and you're like, hey, let's pull out this and let's play some Steam indie games.
Yeah, I mean that's like I have a Switch, right?
Yeah.
And I play it pretty frequently. However, I will say 90% of the time I play it, it's on a dock.
Yeah. And I totally agree.
So-
That's how I play my Switch. My Switch is played on a dock. No matter
So,
what.
and I know there's plenty of people richer and in better situations than me that travel and use like their Switch for stuff like when they're traveling on like an airplane or something, right?
Entertainment.
Right.
Now, I have absolutely no chance to use it in that way. I maybe do something necessary to travel for like 2 hours maximum whenever I do something, and it's in like a car ride. And most of the time when I'm doing that, it's in like a packed car because we're carpooling somewhere, right?
Mhm.
So I almost have no reason to entertain myself because we're already entertaining ourselves, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I mean, speaking about like decisions they made, I feel like the design decision for the Steam Deck is actually kind of cool. Like,
yeah, well, the design looks nice.
yeah. So when you actually look at the layout of the thing, it has a right stick and a left stick, like any controller would, and it has a D-pad on the left, like most controller type, stuff has. And then it has trackpads on both sides. So if you want to use like almost like a mouse type, like a laptop trackpad, right? It has one
Okay.
on each side. So
Really?
yeah, it's like the Steam controller, for example. I don't know if you guys
yeah, I know what that would be.
know anything about that.
Mhm.
Like I have one, right? It has the same trackpad-esque thing on it. And I mean, at least from my humble experience of using it, it's not the greatest. Does it work? Yes. Does it work well? Not really.
Honestly,
So-
though,
If they've improved on that design, implementing it on here, then I'm all for it.
yeah, because I was
honestly.
gonna say, if it works, that's one thing, you know. If it doesn't work like everybody wants it to, that's another thing. Because then you not only is it not working like you intended it to, but now everybody's mad because it's like, man, this thing doesn't work like we want it to in our heads. So that causes a lot of issues for
Yeah.
the public. But then again, most companies just say any what's the saying? Any
Any publicity is good publicity.
yeah, there you
that
go.
what
That saying, that kind of is a big one with most companies. It's like with Microsoft when they did, I believe that whole upping the price on Xbox Live Gold, that was just a big market
yeah.
scheme. To
And
get people
outright
talking.
marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because any publicity is good publicity in their eyes. And I mean, it makes sense, you know, if you're gonna get some publicity, at least, or just get some publicity if you're gonna make a bad decision, so that way people are talking about it. But I feel like at the same time, you also have to respect your customers or the people that are buying your product.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's to a degree also another part of it, right? Is not just like a marketing aspect, but also, well, I guess this could still technically be a marketing aspect, but just in general saying something and then seeing the public reaction to it, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, hey, we're gonna up the price of Xbox Live, and then you see like what people say. Like if they're like, ah, okay, whatever, it's only a few bucks extra, or if they're like, that's dumb, why are you upping the price? Like I'm just not gonna play Xbox anymore, right?
Yeah.
So you like have to gauge the reaction of the public, right? And I
Yeah.
feel like that's probably the same thing that they're doing with like the Steam Deck type thing, right? Like, you know, if enough people complain about the dock being sold separately, will they start including it? Will they make bundles that have the dock that are cheaper than buying the Steam Deck and the dock separately, right? Like,
Well, that's what I thought. I thought that would be the play, you know? You're gonna announce that it's gonna be sold separately. Hey, but good news, we're gonna have a bundle that's gonna make it just cheaper than buying them both separately. And that's what most people were gonna lean towards. Because I knew them selling anything separately with a new product as the Steam Deck would be an issue with most people, right? Because it's a new product, you know, nobody has it. That's like the issue with Apple taking away the charging ports out of their
Oh yeah,
when they
Yeah.
sell
yeah.
them.
They take away the aux plug-in and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Samsung is also taking away what plugs into like a wall or plugs to an
Yeah, the
outlet.
wall
They
plug.
took those away as well, and they also took away headphones from new phones as well.
Yeah,
You don't
the
get
headphone
headphones
jack.
anymore.
Yeah. Apple also a while ago they stopped including their headphones in new phone purchases as well. Like my phone, I got the 12 like a week or two after it came out, and it did not come with headphones.
Yeah.
It came with one of their new chargers, which is it's the USB-C type, right? That you
Yeah.
plug the USB-C into the charging brick, and then you plug it in, and then you plug the lightning cable into your phone, right? Well, it came with the USB-C cord, but it didn't come with the USB-C brick for the wall. So I had to literally go buy one.
Yeah, I heard about that. That Apple was not including.
Yeah, so they
bricks.
give you the charging cord, but not the brick. So unless you went and bought your own charging brick, you couldn't charge your phone.
Interesting. You see, that's to me like you can't not include a charging brick in a box.
Yeah, I know,
and that's why
right.
I stopped. That's why I did not go with an iPhone 12 Pro Max. I actually went with OnePlus, and loving OnePlus, by the way.
Yeah, that's when I opened it. I was so like confused. I was like, "What?"
Yeah. How could you remove something that's so important?
It's literally like probably the most important thing other than the phone to have is a way to charge your phone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Because without charging it, what use is it? And the whole controversy, I guess I want to talk about it real quick. The whole Apple theory on removing the charging port. What do you guys think about that? Apple wanting to not have a charging port in the phone anymore, and that's the reason why they've made MagSafe. Or brought it back, technically. They didn't just make it again. They brought it back, but Apple basically said, hey, or the rumor is Apple is going to tell us this year, hey, we're removing the charging port, but we came up with this new, brand new idea called MagSafe. To replace that charging port of yours. But it's going to charge slower.
yeah, I mean, honestly, ever since they came out with the like whole idea of like wireless phone charging, where you just like set your phone down on the charger and it charges over time, I've been
Yeah.
waiting for them to just completely get rid of corded chargers.
Right.
So honestly, I mean, I'm not like.
Not too
I'm not
shooken
like-
by it?
Well, I mean, I'd rather have a corded charger because, I mean, they just work faster, and also they're cheaper. But I mean, if they do that, like if they do move to that like aspect of the thing, right? Then it will get to where eventually, you know, you like they start upgrading it to the point where it works just as well, if not better, than like a corded charger, right?
Yeah. Well,
So
I think that's the biggest issue, is I don't think it's there yet. You know,
yeah, no, I don't think it is either.
I don't think wireless charging is there yet. OnePlus, I do know that OnePlus phones specifically have a wireless charging dock that can charge at 50 watts, but it's only the specific one. It's like specific to OnePlus phones.
I just
So-
stunned myself.
If MagSafe charged as fast as that, I would be okay with it. But since they charge, in theory, way slower than, well, not in theory, it's factual. It charges
Factual,
slower,
yeah.
than it does with a cord. I feel like that they can't do that. They need another couple years. They need
That is interesting because I do actually. There are wireless chargers that have fast charging to them because I have one and it works very well, and it's the only way I can charge my phone right now. because I messed up something in my phone where I can't actually charge with a wire anymore. So I have to do wireless, and it always fast charges. So I feel like there are advantages if they are able to create a foolproof fast charging system with wireless all around.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, thinking about it, I mean, it's more convenient. You don't have to worry about plugging in your phone or anything. You can just set it down on a thing and know that it's charging, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I think that the convenience of it is great, and I love the concept. Once it's actually found out how they can make the concept even more simple and make it faster and faster, then I'm on board. But right now, since like I said, my OnePlus phone charges at 65 watts. Dude, my phone charges from 0 to 100 in about 20-30 minutes. And it's crazy to me that this is an industry standard right now. Especially since my phone is only $600. Mind you, I got it on sale. I think it's supposed to be about $700-800, but that's about the same price as an iPhone 12.
yeah.
And iPhone
Now-
12s don't have a 65 watt charger
Here-
or 120 hertz screen.
Here is what I'm interested in with the wireless charging stuff, right? So, can we get to a point where, I mean, well, I guess I shouldn't say can we. I guess I should just say how long will it take before you get to that point, because I'm sure we can. To a point where wireless charging isn't drop your phone on this thing and it'll charge, and it's instead like walk into your house and your phone starts charging. Right?
So there's actually a device that can do that, and I seen it about a year ago. I was watching, I believe, an MKBHD video. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys
Yeah,
know him,
yeah.
reputable tech YouTuber.
Marquise Brownlee.
Yeah, Marcus Brownlee. He made a YouTube on the, or YouTube. He made a
He
YouTube
made a
video.
YouTube.
Did a YouTube on it, yeah.
He made a YouTuber.
He made a YouTube video on this, and he had talked about it and how it doesn't work that well right now, but imagine it in the next like couple of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like it will be
and
insane.
so, like, you can't really. There's not much left to do in terms of like wired phone charging, right? Like, you pretty much get wired phone charging at this point. There's not much innovation to be had with that.
Other than
Right.
making it faster.
Yeah. Now, the innovation to be had with wireless charging, there's so much that you could do with it.
Yeah. And
So-
I'm waiting for the day we could charge our phones through just pure like solar panels on the back of the phone.
Yeah,
And-
like your phone's always charging.
Yeah, your phone's
I
always
mean, they do make I mean, given that's entirely separate things, right? Like, not integrated into the phone or anything, but they do make like little packs that are solar powered that you can plug your phone into, for like camping and stuff like that. All right.
Really? They do like make battery packs that are
Yeah,
solar powered?
they're like, you know, the like charging, like the phone charging packs that you can like
Yeah,
charge
battery
and then
packs.
carry around. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're that, but they have a solar panel on the back, and they work
Really?
the same way. And they advertise them last time I saw them, at least, for like people that camp or people that are constantly like away from like their house for a long time, or people going on trips and stuff like that. Right. I mean, given it was pretty expensive, because I mean, most things solar power are still pretty expensive right now, even though they're trying to like break the barrier of solar power and solar energy and shit, right?
Oh yeah, if I could put solar panels on the top of my house, and it be cheaper, I'm 100% for it, you know?
Oh yeah,
I
I mean,
think
it
solar
will
panels are
definitely be
pretty
cheaper.
expensive,
Yeah,
yeah.
it'll definitely be cheaper after doing it. It's just the price for doing it is like
Way too
a
expensive right now.
is like a
Way too
year
much.
of energy for your house, right?
Yeah.
So if you can come up with the money up front for it, then yeah, sure. And also, I heard that some people actually get paid for converting their houses to solar power, because they end up not using power from the grid of the city they're in, and they actually end up giving power to the grid because their house is solar power. So instead of paying the electricity bill, they actually get paid by the
Company.
city.
You see,
Yeah.
that would be, I think that's the future right there. Honestly. Because, if you could have everybody's house just powered by these solar panels, and everybody just gets a little bit of money every month by powering a grid of energy. Not only does that solve an electric problem that we're having right now with natural
I mean, look at
energy.
Texas, man.
Yeah. Well,
Look at Texas's power grid.
yeah, the core power grid. But that should tell you something. And I feel like it will also make it harder for power grids to go out, for the fact of that it's not just one like grid scrambled over everywhere. And I get it, but it's more of everybody has their own way of powering their own electricity.
Yeah.
And it will just be more of whose solar panel got damaged in the storm.
Even if, let's say, you put like, I don't know, enough solar powers on your enough solar panels on your house to power your house with solar energy for like, I don't know, maybe power like a quarter of your day of solar power, not using like the grid of wherever you're at, right? Like if every house in Texas had that, like when they were having these energy problems at during the heat rush that they had recently, and over the winter, that storm they had, the ice storm there, where people were completely like half the state was out of energy because their grid couldn't handle everyone trying to keep their house warm and stuff like that. Like if you had solar energy to power your house for a quarter of the day, at least a quarter of the day, you know, those houses could have heat, or they could have AC for at least a quarter of the day without even having to worry about the power grid. Now imagine if you had more power than a quarter of the day. You don't it doesn't matter if the Texas power grid goes out because you're solar powered.
Right.
So,
and that's where I think that a big issue, that's like two big issues solved in one. And I think that it's not taken seriously enough. Climate change isn't taken seriously enough. Which is a whole different topic, obviously. But I feel like solar panels are the new wave, or are going to be the new wave, and it wouldn't surprise me if a company decided to just build solar panels just into your phone and just charge your phone that way.
yeah. I mean, speaking of entirely different topics, we got here from talking about Steam Decks. So
Yeah.
So, the other topic that we wanted to, or one of the topics we wanted to cover was, do one of you guys have the thing pulled up? It's, I believe,
Amazon.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
Amazon.
So, Amazon as a company, man, they're huge, and they're growing a lot of power, especially over here in America. And
Good old Bezos.
with
Going to space, man.
and with that power, does that scare you? Does that like make you think about what's next for everybody, really? Because Amazon holds so much power. Anything they do can affect everybody, really.
I feel like it isn't a shock. I feel like it's something that has been, especially since COVID-19 was very has blown up. Amazon, or online shopping in general, I guess, has kind of blown up because of COVID-19. You really only were able to get most items online, and it kind of goes in with like entertainment as well. Basically anything and everything online. Amazon was kind of a big boom when COVID-19 first started.
Yeah,
I feel like that's one of the big reasons why they're as big as they are.
and I agree with you there, honestly. COVID caused a pretty big wave of people ordering stuff online, and that brings up the issue of, like, you know, and now Amazon has all this power. Now they have a pharmacy section.
Yeah.
Know if you guys know about that.
Yeah, you can get stuff like from a pharmacy delivered to you now if you have the prescription.
Right. And that's in itself insane. If you would have said that was going to happen 5 years ago, people would have told you, you're fucking nuts. You know? You're crazy.
Yeah, I can get my pharmacy meds delivered straight to my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
like,
sure, buddy.
Yeah, people would have told you, yeah, and I'm Superman. You know? Like, that shit just don't work like that. But...
Yo, Danny, by the way, there's an armor thing right here you can grab.
Thank you. But nowadays, since it's so easy to order things online, people would just rather, no matter the expense. So
Yeah,
if
like,
it's more expensive.
good example of ordering things online, even if it's more expensive. Uber Eats and Grubhub, stuff like that.
DoorDash.
You can get $10 McDonald's meal, right? And it ends up costing you $22 because you have to pay for the extra fees of
Yep.
just DoorDash, not including like a tip if you put a tip on there, right?
And usually, and with most of them, you have no choice but to put a tip. So, and don't get me wrong, tipping somebody that's
I mean, yeah,
doing the
rightfully
delivery-
so. I
yeah.
mean, someone going out of their way to get something for you and then bringing it to you, given it's their job, but
Right.
I mean, still, I mean, they're doing it for you, right? So, I mean, I feel like they should at least get,
Yeah, out of respect,
you know,
they
a
should
small
get a tip.
tip, yeah.
But the fact that there's so many fees already tacked to what they're trying to sell you, that in itself is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
And-
no. So it's this whole thing also. Like I just recently bought some concert tickets. I bought them online, right?
Right.
Like through a thing, okay? Now, they charged me the processing fee, right? Whatever. That happens anyway. But they charge you convenience fees for buying things online because it's
Convenience
convenient.
fees.
Yeah, bro, they charged me a convenience fee. It was like $2.50 or something, but a
That's
convenience
still
fee.
ridiculous.
Bro.
Convenience fee.
How
Wow.
else do you want me to buy them? You want me to walk up to the store and go, "I'd like one concert ticket, please, with no convenience fee because I came in person." Like, what? They're just finding ways to make
Came
more
in
money.
person. Yeah, and that's the same thing with DoorDash. I saw some tweet before I deleted Twitter. It was a guy from California. He ordered DoorDash, and there was like 9 fees tacked onto his order, and it was like, and one of them was a convenience fee, and it was $5 convenience fee, and he ordered like $12 worth of things, and it came out to almost $40.
Yeah.
And that's dead in my. But he still ordered it, and that blew my mind. I was like, "Oh my god," And maybe
Yeah, I
that's
mean-
just me being cheap. That could just
No,
be me too.
that's another thing though. That's part of the consumer market, right? Like if they're charging convenience fees and people stop using their thing, like if Grubhub's like, yeah, we're gonna start charging a $5 convenience fee on every order, and then they lose 50% of the people that order from them, are they gonna keep that convenience fee, right? But if
Yeah.
people are like, it's only an extra $5, and they only lose, 10% of the people that are on there, they're making way more money from losing that 10% because they are charging more money to the 90% of people that stayed, right? So
It is a gamble for sure.
yeah, they have
Um,
no reason to get rid of it at that point.
Right. I feel like that's also with companies experimenting with prices as well. Kind of like what we mentioned earlier with Xbox rising their prices for Xbox Live Gold. And then just deciding, yeah, there's too much backlash, let's just go back on it. Most companies might feel comfortable like rising the prices a little bit or putting convenience fees. It just kind of depends on what it is and how much backlash, if they have any, they'll get.
Yeah.
Well, and that's an entire issue that I've always had with ordering online is will it get here? And that's not only an
Yeah.
issue with DoorDash, because DoorDash, I've ordered stuff off of DoorDash and it doesn't get here. But same thing with Amazon, and their refund policies are so forgivable, and that makes people want to order them because they're like, oh well, if you fuck up my order, then you're just gonna give me my money back, and then they're gonna give me my order anyway. Because that's like with Amazon, you order something, say you order a phone off of Amazon, they send you the wrong phone. Well, not only can you get a refund for that phone, you can also get to keep that new phone you just got, even if it was the wrong one. And that's a pretty crazy thing in itself, because now you have a free phone and the money that you were gonna spend, and you can now go spend more money on Amazon. And
Yeah,
that's I
yeah.
feel the strategy there, but that's a crazy thing that happens in the world. Like we see something, we're like, oh, it's free, now I have chances to go buy more things from this company that fucked me over before.
Yeah, I saw a picture a while ago. It was it was something pretty similar to that. It was on Twitter. It was someone bought something on Amazon and they ended up like it was the wrong thing that they got, right? So they like or no, hang on. I'm thinking of a different thing. They ordered it and they never got it, right? And it reached the point in time where Amazon's like, if you don't get it by this point in time, you know, reach out to us and we'll give you a refund because you should have got it, right? It reached that point in time and they reached out, they got a refund for it and all that stuff, right? But it ended up coming to them later, and they tweeted that it eventually showed up. It was just really, really late when it got there, and Amazon was like Amazon saw the tweet that they put, and they were like, "Thanks for letting us know. Go ahead and send it back at whatever and get in contact with us." And they responded to it, and they were like, "Hell no!" They were like, "This is mine now." They're like, "This is free." They're like, "You guys are the ones that fucked it up. I'm keeping this."
Yeah.
So they got their refund and they kept the thing they initially wanted. So they didn't even have to rebuy the thing they wanted. They just got free money and a free thing that they wanted, right? Because Amazon messed it up, and then Amazon was like, "Hey, give it back." Like,
Oh, dude, can you imagine a big company like Amazon? They're just like, hey, can you give that back to us, please? You know, they're just like,
You know, we don't want our money stolen. You know what I mean? It's not like we have billions of dollars, anyways. You know, it's
yeah, it's not like
It's not
we're a
a big
multi.
deal.
It's not like our CEO, that's not our CEO anymore, is going to space.
yeah.
Cause why? Cause he wanted to. That's why.
He literally retired to go to space, man. That's a, I can't believe that he's not the Amazon CEO, you know?
Oh yeah, no, it's interesting that they, you know, they switched him out.
Yeah.
Well, given I don't know how much of that was him just doing it, and how much of it was like, oh, we have a Panzer here. I don't know how much of it was
the
him
decision
doing
was
it, and how
his,
much
yeah.
of it was like the company just being like, "Hey, Bezos, bye bye, buddy," right? Like,
Oh, you think they did that? You think they did that to him? That'd be an
I mean, I
interesting
definitely
theory.
think they could. They've done it before with like other CEOs and other companies, right? So I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
an unheard of thing. So
Yeah,
I
and that's
definitely
true.
say it's possible. That I mean, that was definitely part of it. I'm sure.
Yeah, I've never actually like thought of like maybe the company sold Bezos because they're like, hey man, take a step down for a little bit, you know, let us run it. And honestly, it can make sense, you know, it can make sense to just have.
Holy shit! I'm
people
melting
running?
that dude.
yeah, I got him.
But I think that the big takeaway from that is just I feel like we shouldn't be nervous of Amazon, but we should also like they definitely need to keep them in check. Like I feel like our
Yeah.
governments need to start checking Google, Facebook, Amazon, all these big companies like tech companies
So
that have such power.
here's the thing on that, right? It's like it's been happening for a while with like the big pharmaceutical companies, right? Like that are contributing to the you know, the opioid addiction crisis and shit in like America specifically. Okay. Like recently, I think it was New York, they finalized in court like New York versus the pharmaceutical company, and the pharmaceutical company has to pay them like 200 and something billion dollars or something, which looking at their like company is like a slap on the wrist punishment, right?
Yeah.
For contributing to like an epidemic of drug addiction.
Drug addiction. Yeah, it's crazy how much power these companies have.
Right, and
Pharmaceuticals
that's-
a really interesting topic because not only do they have the amount of power that they do, but they also like in every other country, the government controls
Yeah.
how much pharmaceutical companies can charge. America's like one of the only companies I believe that doesn't do that, and that's a pretty big issue I think that we have as a
Yeah.
country.
Like, look at the price of insulin
Yeah.
in America compared to anywhere else. People go to Canada to get cheap insulin. Like, I saw a thing a while ago where someone went to Canada, and they got a month's worth of insulin for $44 in Canada, and it would have cost like 1,000 in
1,000
America.
here. Yeah, and that's crazy to me that we're charging so much more for something that would only benefit the health of the people of our
Yeah,
country.
and people literally need insulin. Like diabetic people that need insulin need it to live. They will
Yeah.
die if they do
Without
not get it.
Yeah, and that's crazy that they that it still costs the money that it does. I feel like even some medications, like most medications, are probably overpriced in America. I think that's a safe thing to say,
Yeah.
because
yeah,
if you
I'm
look
sure.
at, like I said, if you look at medication, what it costs here and then what it costs in like Canada, it's like a tenth of the price in Canada, and it's
Oh, yeah.
definitely a big issue that it never gets tackled, it seems. But I believe that's because pharmaceutical companies pay off everybody, so that way they don't have to worry about people saying something.
Some stuff that's actually like I don't know if I remember correctly. I don't think it's actually technically illegal, but like some pharmaceutical companies will pay doctors to prescribe their pharmacy like their drug instead of a different type of drug.
Right. And that that gives them a ton of benefits right there. You know, because I mean, you go to your local doctor, you don't know he's paid off or she's paid off by a pharmaceutical company that's really just trying to gain money off of you instead of helping.
I don't think they have to disclose it either,
Yeah,
right?
they do
Like
not.
No.
it's entirely like random. Like your doctor could be like, "Oh, this sounds like this medication will be a good fit for you," but like, are they just saying that because they're being paid by the company to prescribe you that medication, right? Now,
Right.
like I said, I have absolutely no idea if that's actually like
Cool.
illegal or not.
Yeah.
Like I know that it's a thing that happened in the past for sure. Like I've definitely seen stuff about it.
Oh, 100%.
And it definitely could still be happening. Like,
yeah.
Definitely. Like that's like saying that pharmaceutical companies are not involved in suspicious activity is like saying the mob is not here anymore. You know?
Oh yeah,
the
no,
mob
the
doesn't
mob's
exist.
definitely still here.
Yeah, like
it might not be as prevalent, like, you know, in the news cycle or something like that, but I mean, they're definitely still there.
Right. That's like what it's like saying that, you know? Everybody knows that that's bullshit. Like it still exists. It's just maybe it's just on the low. Everything's on the low nowadays and you have to really dig for certain things. But you know what? When you do dig, usually eventually you'll find gold. And I'm hoping that with this news about us as pretty much a country suing Google over the monopolistic acts of trying to, like, they try to buy Samsung, and that in itself is scary. You know, they buy Samsung. That's for the most part in the Android market. That's a lot of the Android market right there.
Yeah.
Because Huawei is gone pretty much from the U.S. Most of Huawei is not really located in the U.S. anymore. Rightfully so. They've done some shady stuff. But I do think that having them as a competition was important for these companies. And now that they're not here, Samsung has really stepped up their game and has really proven themselves in the phone market. And then you have people like OnePlus who are making really good phones. Then you have like companies like that. And then there's Google. Google's like, oh, well, we have all this money. Why not just buy all these companies out? Well, hopefully the government starts controlling stuff like that, and they start controlling even like Amazon. At some point, you got to put your foot down and say, hey, you guys can't be as controlling as you are over this market. You know, there has to be other companies in this market controlling it.
Yeah.
And you have to work with them.
But even then, we have to get to the point, right, where the punishment for them doing stuff like that isn't just, here's a fine, pay it, and whatever, we'll move on, right? Because they don't care if they have that fine, because they
can pay it off.
Yeah,
with
they
ease.
just pay it like it's an electricity bill. Like, it doesn't matter to them, right?
Right. You'd have to do it with some type of I don't know what you would call it. Not a sanction, right? It wouldn't be called a sanction on their business. It would just be a limitation. I don't think you can sanction an online business. 'Cause you can't
I'm not
sanction-
sure what they would. I'm not necessarily sure what all they could
Because
do.
we have sanctions on countries with trade, right? But we don't. That's countries, That's we're talking about tech businesses here, and
Yeah,
just business in general.
You got your comeuppance.
Because we trade. We obviously we do a lot of trading with China, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's we put sanctions on them so they won't do anything, too bad because they need us in a way. China needs our trade because we trade with
Yeah,
them so
well,
much.
we trade with them a lot.
Yeah, so it puts a foot down on what they can do to us as a country because China's done some shady shit, some of the hacking
Well,
stuff.
let's be honest, man. Every country has. But
Well, yeah.
Every country has
But-
some sort of sketchy shit going on.
And something that I've always I've always I feel bad saying that, just pointing out China doing it, but it's something to consider for sure, in my opinion, because we trade with them the most. It's something to be worrisome about, and
Oh, yeah, no.
to definitely keep in mind, hey, these guys have this control over our economy and how they
Another zombie KIA.
how that works with us. It not only is it going to affect us if they were to stop trading with us, but it's going to affect them too. So
Oh, yeah.
they can't just
Yeah.
stop trading with us.
I mean, America, for what it is, being, not definitely by far not the greatest country ever, right? But, for being what it is, I mean, it's one of the, most, it's one of the biggest trade, countries, right? So,
Well, correct.
any country that loses trade with America is losing a lot of,
A lot of business.
money,
Mhm.
right?
And it's a lot of business they need to keep going. Because what is China without all the trades that they get? Because it's not just the U.S. A lot of other countries trade with China.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of places use China.
Yeah, and I mean, can't blame them. China's has so many people there that they can that
Yeah.
work.
Given that's also another problem in China is the fact that you can get things made in China for such a low price because they pay their
Hey,
workers
so
terribly
bad,
there.
Yeah,
But I mean, that's a China problem.
yeah,
right
that
there.
sounds like a China problem. That's unfortunate for them, And I always hope for the best of people, best for people, and make sure that their well-being is good. But it's something that I think that the U.S. needs to act in their best interest here with Amazon. Just going back to the topic of it real quick, figured I'd give it a little bit of a cherry on top. I definitely think that the U.S. needs to have a control on what Amazon can do, fully, because right now Amazon can kind of just
I think,
do as
Yeah.
In any big company.
yeah,
I
any
think
big company.
really any country should have
Some sort of-
stipulations.
Chill now.
Yeah, for sure. Whether that be just trying to control what they can buy up, or that be issues in their market. It's just, I just think it's ridiculous right now that it's not being watched, and I'm glad that our government is finally clamping down, or seems to be, and being like, hey, you guys are tech giants. You guys have billions of dollars at this point, right? So you're
Yeah.
not hurting, and you guys pay how much in taxes?
None.
Like nothing.
In some cases, at least, literally none at
None.
all.
Yeah, so they're like, I feel like that it's a great direction that we're taking. Here, save a zombie. Oh my god, my voice.
We've got a crawler right here.
Okay.
So if we can save the crawler, I'll try.
I'll kill the rest.
I'm just trying
What's
to
wrong?
find this last number for the safe because I can't find it. But
Oh yeah, the free wonder weapon.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll try to keep this crawler alive.
Another zombie KIA.
Still a decent amount on me
but
right now.
yeah, Amazon is just that whole deal is really interesting to me because They have so much power, and I
They
could
could
go on for
last.
forever about Amazon and the big tech giants that have so much control over the world right now, in my opinion. But
Yeah, Last Zombie's a crawler right there. So
Mhm.
I'll go ahead and put us on the new topic that we want to talk about, and I guess this actually we did just talk about it a little bit, but how big we did kind of top it off. We did talk about monopolies and how they're involved in these big companies right now. But what do you guys think it would take to bring down monopolies right now? Like what the biggest has the biggest monopoly, do you think, and how does it need to be taken down? I have my answer already, but I'll let you
the
guys answer
biggest
first.
monopoly,
Yeah.
man.
So
Uh,
there's a few big ones I can think of, but
Kyle should know this one. I'm like pretty sure this is the biggest monopoly.
I mean, if you think Monopoly, you think Microsoft, right?
No, I'm thinking Xfinity in the internet
Eh,
world.
really?
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense. Xfinity with Verizon.
They
and-
have a huge network, and they're good. You know,
I mean, yeah, Xfinity is definitely the best internet provider that I've personally like ever used,
Yeah.
right? Like,
but does that? But now, since everybody knows they're the best and everybody wants their internet, it's hard for these smaller internet companies. I feel.
yeah, that goes back to the same thing with like Facebook I was talking about earlier. Like before we had started this with like they literally just got sued in England or whatever was the UK because of their practices, like their business practices, where if a promising startup, you know, was starting up, they just like bought them before they could get big enough to be any real competition to Facebook, right? So
Yeah.
like they literally sued them for trying to like monopolize that type of thing, right? So uh, it's I don't know. It's an interesting thing trying to stop monopolies from being a thing and trying to you know keep them in check
I
because
feel like monopolies. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I feel like monopolies
you're
are
fine.
always going to be an issue. They're always
Yeah.
going to be around. It's just how much will they gain?
Yeah, that's
How
what I'm
much are they
saying.
gonna?
It's like at what line is it a monopoly, right? Like they have specified like lines and monopoly stuff, right? It's like if they own like 50% of the market of that thing, then it's classified as a monopoly or something like that, right? But like I feel like 50% in like well, I guess just talking about like the United States market, right? Because like you could open a business really feasibly anytime you wanted to here, right? You could just be like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna open this business, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
It might work, it might not. But I feel like 50% of that market is still like too low or too high of a number cap. Like I feel like it should be lower than that, like 30% before you start getting into that territory, right? Because like think of the big companies and then just imagine how many smaller companies they've bought to add on to their companies in general, right?
Oh, for sure.
Like the number is gotta be like ridiculous.
I feel like it also matters on what some of these big companies acquire as well. Like what other small companies or smaller companies, I should say, what they acquire that way. Because you could say a percentage, like 20% or something, but they might have a company that's really big. Like Google trying to get Samsung is a pretty big company, you
Yeah,
know?
that's a pretty big acquisition, and Google, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I've heard that they've offered Samsung in the billions for their company,
Yeah, I mean,
and
I wouldn't doubt that.
obviously
I
declined
mean,
because
Samsung itself
Samsung, yeah,
is worth billions, right?
Yeah.
So
You've also got companies as well. We're talking about tech companies. We can also go to entertainment, such as Disney.
yeah, I
Look
mean,
what they've acquired. Marvel, they've acquired Star Wars,
yeah,
they've acquired a lot of other companies as well. where they also
Disney-
could be considered a monopoly in that sense.
Yeah, Disney's definitely getting up there. That's for sure.
Yeah, if not
Same
already.
thing
Up
with
there.
if you think about like Google as well in the entertainment area, like look at they bought YouTube a while ago, right? Like
Yeah, that was their biggest
YouTube-
acquisition, I think, though.
yeah, YouTube by far the biggest, video like streaming platform for like the type of platform it is, right? Like nothing is better than YouTube when you think of like creator videos, right?
Right. And that is true. Nothing's bigger than YouTube. I've seen some startups recently trying to get up there with YouTube though. And that's always nice to see, It's always nice to see companies trying to get up there with to compete, but it's just really hard at this point to compete
Oh, yeah.
with YouTube and how big it is. And that's a big issue with Google, and that's what I think Google needs to be dealt with in that sense. They need to be told, hey, this isn't cool. You guys have too big of a market share in this area. Cool it, go into other ventures. But then if you tell them to go into other ventures, they're gonna go and now you have a huge company that has pretty much unlimited resources to dump into that venture that they go into or whatever market they go into. And they could become the next monopoly in that thing. So it's really hard to define what a monopoly is, I guess, and what is safe to say, hey, this is a monopoly, this isn't. This is a monopoly, you need to go into a different venture. Oh, now you own this whole market of this thing now because I told you to
Yeah.
do. What the fuck?
Well,
It's-
see, that's the thing on that though, right? Is like once you're a company like a Google or Facebook, right, and you have this unlimited capital, basically, like it doesn't matter what you do. You could become a monopoly anywhere. Like, if you are Facebook and you go, social media is all right, but I'm gonna start Facebook TV, right?
yeah.
And then you just go around and you buy all the smaller, like, if you go around and you buy DirecTV, right? Like, okay, now you have DirecTV and you don't have them as a competitor anymore, right? And then you go and you buy, I don't know, what's another, like,
What took you so long?
AT&T has a fucking cable network. So let's say you go around and you buy the fucking
You buy their.
you buy AT&T for I don't know, however much
like
they cost,
1.2
right?
billion.
It's definitely got to be more than that.
Oh, it's more than that, but I'm just throwing numbers.
Just a random number. You buy them. It's a dip in your pocket, and you get, them, right?
Yeah.
So. I mean, really, there's once you get to that big of a business, right? It doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, and I feel like it's really tough. Like there's like a really big line. It's like copyright almost too. Copyright's gotten to such a big issue that when people copyright words now, you can't even say certain words. Like
Yeah, like back when the React Bros tried to copyright
Yeah.
the word React.
React, yeah.
well, I'm pretty sure there was a YouTuber that made a joke about copyright issues, and they pretty much just said, what if you got a song tattoo, like tatted onto your
On
leg,
your arm or
arm?
something.
Does that company now own you because you
Own
put
your
song
arm.
lyrics on your arm that you liked? Like
Yeah, because it's like on YouTube, if you like hum 5 seconds of a song and it's like a good enough hum that they can detect what song it is, they can copyright
they
that,
can copyright
right?
it. Yep.
And that, like, you're not even saying the words or anything, right? You're just at that point you're just humming,
Lyrics.
words. Like, you're not even
Not even
saying
words,
any
just the
words
beat
or anything.
to
You're
it.
just humming the music, right? So, like, I don't know. It gets a little bit ridiculous at points.
Yeah, and copyright's like, and that's how copyright is. And I think that the market markets right now are just so fucked, and I don't know what it would take to even fix it at this point in time.
A lot.
Yeah, we would have to we'd have to have unlimited amounts of resource to throw into it, and we do not. As a country, as a world, as the world progresses, no country has the resources, let alone all of them combined. I don't even think if you even had all the countries combined in the world and said, hey, this is what it's gonna take to get rid of this issue, I still don't think you'd be able to get rid of that issue. You know what I mean?
It would definitely be incredibly hard.
Yeah. It's not something that you could just forget about. Or you could just say, hear ye. We're changing the rules. Because companies would find a way around the rules like they always have.
And they will continue to do.
Oh, they will definitely continue.
I need to redo my armor.
But, yeah, I feel like monopolies is such a huge topic. And I think we've covered quite a bit of monopolies here. Definitely a good amount that I was wanting to.
Definitely the big companies' names are pretty much tech companies. That's just what the Times, I think.
Yep.
Also.
And
Yeah.
it's only gonna continue getting like that for the worse or better.
Yeah, I mean, it's
what
always
do you
going to
want?
be like supply and demand, right?
Yep.
So,
And tech companies
like,
are up
what's
there.
popular at the time will always be, in that time, you know, more sought after, right? Like,
Yeah.
people aren't buying like, what's something old that I can't even think about something old that people like don't care about anymore.
Oh shoot.
That's a good question.
Recorders?
Like,
Oh yeah, this is a bad one actually.
like VCRs,
Yeah, like,
maybe?
VCRs?
yeah, VCRs. and stuff like that. Yeah, like no one cares about VCRs anymore unless you're like a collector of VCRs.
Yeah.
Also,
Stuff
like,
like that,
boom
right?
boxes and other stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, like, old tech items right now.
It's crazy to think about, man. Honestly.
And even then, those are like arbitrary values that people put on them, right? Like,
Yeah.
some people think it's worth this, and then other people just think it's worth this. It's crazy how things change in an instant, and it's really out of most people's controls, other than the obvious tech giants and the people that are running them. But yeah, we covered some of the our thoughts on monopolies, I think, and the next topic that we wanted to cover today was Kyle, I'll actually have you introduce this topic because this one came off of your head, and you were the one that pretty much found the information for this one. So why don't you introduce us to this topic here?
Okay, so this topic, I've been following for a while because I think it's very interesting to kind of see it, and it also kind of goes in the sense of, what we were talking about with monopolies, with specifically Amazon, where COVID was a big factor. It was a big factor with this change as well, and that was, manga and anime kind of taking over comic world.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing, right? Because they do have, after watching and reading about all of it, they do have quite a bit of control over.
They have a lot of control over, specifically, like basically sales, in comic book stores, and even in Barnes and Noble. Like, there's been a lot of TikTok videos going around, people just going into Barnes and Noble, like, look at this big collection of manga, and there's like no comics here, like none.
Yeah.
It's weird seeing that kind of change. There's like certain books, there's like certain series from Japan that's really popular in the West, and it's been outselling a lot of comics nowadays. And there's a lot of multitude of reasons for that, but it's just kind of interesting seeing the change, because of comic books being already niche as it is, as well as manga, I would say. Like, I think comics in general, like actual sales, I feel like it was already niche as it is, but with manga kind of blowing up as it is, comics are kind of falling off as is right now, like especially
Yeah,
nowadays.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think comics are falling off because of the expensive price that you have to pay. Like, it's almost like a premium to get a Marvel or DC comic, and that's, in my opinion, ridiculous. You know, comics were super cheap back in the day. That's what they were known for, at least in my opinion. They were known to be super cheap, whether it be DC, Marvel, Captain Underpants.
Captain
Captain, that's an old name I've not heard in a long time.
Captain Underpants brought up in DC and Marvel.
Yep.
Dude, that was like one of the popular ones, at least when
It
I
gets
was
its
a kid.
own adult version.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. That was a really popular thing that people loved. At least when I was reading comics all the time and talking to people about it. And you know, since comics have such a big, for at least us in general, I guess. I guess our age group loves comics a lot because, you know, we grew up with it. But I know that even Kyle was talking about how he prefers the manga comics now over the regular DC
I
Marvel
prefer
comics.
manga because it's way cheaper. I've been comparing prices, and
Yeah.
manga is around like $7 to $12 at most for the ones that I
Yeah.
like, at least. They could go up to like $15, but even that's not as bad as comics for Marvel, which I saw a lot in stores for like $25 to $30 a piece.
So like, not necessarily a manga at with this, right? But like, you know, I like Naruto and stuff like that, right? Like, you know, anime stuff
Just
like
anime
that.
in general.
Yeah, and like, I bought the Itachi like novels that they made that aren't necessarily manga. They're just like literally books. Like,
Those are graphic novels, I think.
Yeah, no, they're actually not. I mean, they have like, I think they have like some like depictions in them, but it's mostly words on pages. Honestly,
I think that is actually a graphic novel. That's what graphic novels usually are. They have illustrations here and there, but they're mostly words.
yeah. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't really fucking looked through them. I'm not sure if there's anything in there. I think there might be occasionally. Not positive. I have them sitting on my shelf right here. But I bought those, and they were legitimately like, I think they were about $6 each.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cheap.
So like, not like a book of manga, sure, but like
Close
it's
to
not
it.
much different than the price of,
Yeah.
you know, a book of manga. So
And it's interesting, man, to see something like comics fall off so badly because of price issue. And
It's not just price either. I feel like there's also
I think the
Quality.
quality is the worst.
quality's
Yeah.
worse. And I think that comes with the woke type of attitude everybody has nowadays. Because at the end of the
it's
day,
what they sell it to. It's who they sell it to.
yeah, it's who you're selling it to, and the people nowadays are more of a part of a woke type group rather than just they want badass fighting scenes with, you know, whether that be seeing fucking Batwoman naked or something, you know.
And that's
rather
not
see that.
even like I mean,
I would
that's not
rather see
even
some chick videos.
related.
Well, we're apparently
At
we're
that
welcoming
point.
Mason to the podcast. So this is Mason's
Apparently.
first episode. His name is Donk Online, Useless Meds. Also, he will be coming on the podcast eventually, or he'll be on here talking too. We gotta
He'll
get
be
him
the
a
main
better mic.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll be one of the
It's-
getting guys. This is mainly the main 4 people
Yeah.
that will be on
It's,
here. I believe.
it's unfortunate that I'll be joining.
Well,
Very.
No,
We'll
you
see.
we got to get you a better mic. But you know, since it's the first episode, I'm not looking for quality. I'm just looking to have fun, and that's what we're really looking for
Yes,
here.
quantity then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mason, just so you're on the topic, we're talking about how comics have fallen off recently. And the new thing is manga comics, which are basically anime comics, but
Yeah, I
Stuff
know.
that Mason's gonna hate.
for the big reason of that they're cheaper. So that's the topic right now, and why that is. And so, do you have any thoughts, Mason, on that? Thank you.
I think comics are actually falling out because they're pushing more of a political agenda instead of making stories. But
That
And
is what we're
that
basically
is
talking about.
Yeah, that is a fact. That is a fact. I will.
Well, not even just the like not making stories thing. It's more they almost make too many stories. Because how many
Yeah.
runs of a specific like how many runs of Fantastic Four are there? Right?
Oh, dude.
But he
So
runs of
many.
Batman are there,
So
like
many.
a lot.
How many
Yeah.
runs of the Naruto manga are there? One. The original Naruto
There's
manga.
like spin-offs. There's Boruto.
How many runs of the Naruto
So-
Shippuden manga are there? One. It's a one story. It's a seamless story.
That people could follow, and that's part of the reason. I honestly think as a kid, that's why I kind of like Star Wars, because there was a story. The story, you could follow it. You know, it made sense.
yeah,
And as stuff goes on, obviously stuff changes, and change is really is another big
But, you know,
issue.
but there is like a once in a lifetime, because there is like a good comic that did come out about Batman. It's called Batman: The White Knight, I think, or something like that. That came out recently, and it was an actually good comic.
Yo,
Yeah, I
come
mean-
grab this wonder weapon.
What?
It's,
It's over here. Over here. Sorry.
Oh, gotcha. I mean, I'm not saying obviously like, don't make limited runs of comics and stuff like that, right? Because some of them are cool, like you said, like,
Yeah. Some of
Um
them are very cool.
I'm just saying I feel like they make too many different ones at a
Yeah,
time.
too many different stories. I think that the since we're on the topic of comics, DC and stuff like that, I do think the new Batman movie looks sick, and a lot of
Oh,
people are
the, what?
agreeing.
Yeah, the comic or not comic, the trailer for it
Yeah.
actually looks kind of cool.
The trailer looks really cool, and if they decide to take that into a nice storyline for it, I would love for them to do so. But
I haven't seen that.
I do agree with Mason. I think that there's a line where you need to draw it, and you need to make it
they just need to stop being political because they're
Yeah.
comics.
they are
They're
comics.
comics. They are meant for entertainment. They're not meant to preach to us
Preach
their
to it,
political
yeah.
views.
Yeah,
It's the people that are writing the stories that are putting
The
in their
political-
own political views.
political views.
That isn't, it's not meant for everyone, and that's what comics should be. But what I've been seeing a lot is that they just advertise it on Twitter to kind of appease.
Yeah,
people
they're
on Twitter.
appeasing. They're appeasing people who don't read comics when they should
Yeah.
be appeasing like the people who actually buy the comics and read them.
Correct.
Right.
Because there's nothing like there's nothing wrong with having a different view from somebody else, right? Like there's especially in political. That's not what we're saying. But
Well,
what we're
yeah.
saying is just to clear it up to people that watch, that when you have something like comics where it's really just about ass kicking and yes, the occasional Batwoman titty slip. Like when it's
That's the crowd that
the
they are
occasional,
supposed to appeal
yeah.
to.
occasional Batman and Batgirl sex scene.
Yeah, like that's the type of crowd you're supposed to be appealing to, really, because that was the main crowd. That's how people feel, and it's I guess it is okay to appeal to a new crowd and a new group of people. Yeah,
It shouldn't
Yes,
be the main
that's
focus.
completely
though.
fine.
It sh-
the main focus should always be kicking ass, like you always have put it. And lately it's not been, and I think that's a big issue right now with a lot of people. People feel that they've disrespected comics because of that, and hopefully
Yeah.
they'll go back to their old ways. But we know companies. They
Yeah,
do
didn't
what's
you hear?
works.
Did you hear about the fucking new Captain America?
Yeah, that
He's going.
it flopped
gonna
completely
be
as well because they
gay.
messed up the name.
He's gonna be gay.
Really, I did not know about that. Did not hear about that. That's why.
That's another thing as well.
Oh,
Is
you
they
know,
also like to switch
That
around
makes sense now. I
with
just
canon characters. That's another problem. Is that with these new stories, they like to mess around with what's canon already,
Yeah.
Oh,
and they
yeah,
try and
well, see,
alter
Yeah.
this different
that-
stories, and it's just
that's
not
another
good.
thing. And then that's another thing, right? Because if something like completely flops, they just go, "Oh well, see, that actually is just not canon in the story." So that's just like, it's just basically fan made at that point.
Yeah, it's
Like,
an alternate universe. It doesn't
Or
matter.
you call them haters. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
That too.
Well, that's like what they did with the new 3 movies from Star Wars that came out in recent years. You know, they kind of just labeled them as, oh, you know, they don't exist. But
And
then,
then there was
You
Ryan
know, there
Johnson,
also-
who called
there is
them
a,
babies.
There is a leak, or someone, there was something that was posted that was like, oh, Ryan Johnson's getting his own universe series. And I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah,
The guy that brought us The Last Jedi, which was the most divisive movie out of all of them, I think, out of the sequels.
definitely one of the most hated.
I wouldn't say hated, I'd just say divisive. Because I know people that actually did like the movie for what it was. I
That's
know,
because they like
weirdos.
The Force Awakens.
I felt like The Force Awakens wasn't too bad. I
Wasn't
thought
too
it was.
bad, yeah. I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it was great. I don't think it was
I don't
anywhere
think it was
near
great,
the
no.
prequels or
But
original
Okay,
trilogy.
well,
the only thing
that's-
I
that's a
don't
different
like about The
topic.
Force Awakens, all right, let's forget that.
Well, look, I'm like I said, this whole the whole idea with this is we're the boys, you know. We'll have people on, whoever we want on, and we'll talk about whatever we want to talk about, you know. Get it off of our chest, get to talk about it. Because at the end of the day, we're all normal people. We're all the same thing, you know. And we all have mostly the same idea about what we all like and don't like. But that's what's so interesting about it, you know. Some people will see something one
I
way,
mean-
and then other people will see it the other way.
Yeah, different opinions are always necessary in conversations about
Yeah.
anything, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah, for people in this group chat right now, it's 3 against 1.
Are you gonna
Well,
die,
it-
Danny?
Yeah, I died. I was fighting a panzer, in my defense.
Oh, yeah, what?
Let's go up here.
Ooh, you
And
guys
then-
can do that. I'll train the zombies this way.
But yeah, the whole idea of that is pretty crazy, and I'm excited for just stuff that could come in general for futures to come. Because
Yeah.
as technology gets better, we're gonna get better movies. We're gonna get better everything, really. And that's
Yeah,
always
because
nice.
I think better video games are getting better because we saw the Battlefield trailer
Yeah.
and the like Starfield and like what else?
We had we kind of had a little bit of a more dry year for video games. I feel.
Oh yeah, this past year.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was bad, but next year,
Like, what's
Uh,
the biggest game that came out this year, right? Like
Battlefield.
Cyberpunk, and what?
And that was a flop.
What did that do? It came out broken as hell. That's what it did.
yeah,
Video games in general lately have been pretty poorly made.
Yeah.
And it has me
Yeah.
worried about the future a little bit of gaming, but I also see a
see-
lot of promise in most games. Like, I'm really excited. Obviously excited for Halo Infinite. Excited for Battlefield 2042. Hopefully they turn out to be insane games that will keep us distracted from the really shitty games that have come out in the past.
Completely random, but since you
you see,
brought
that's
up
why I
Halo
have
Infinite,
Skyrim.
I saw a video earlier. No clue if it's gonna be real or not. Fuck. What are the? I can't remember what the aliens are called. What are the aliens called?
Covenant?
Yes, wow.
Covenant,
I can't
yeah.
believe I believe. Yeah, I saw there was a female one, and it had an execution move where it took the Spartan dude that it was fighting, and it put his head between its titties, and it crushed his head in between its titties.
Oh, I've seen that. I've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen
And
that.
I was like, if that's a real thing, there's gonna
Hell
be
yeah.
so many people thirsting over this.
Yeah,
I've also seen
honestly.
I've seen another one. It was a female Spartan where she trips his leg and she puts her fat ass right in his head.
But you see, like, that's so gamer-like, and that's the best part, you know?
I mean, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not like-
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not
you
like
know.
they're doing it for no reason.
Well,
right?
they're like, they understand that they're appealing, they're trying to appeal to the people that are in their market, you know? And most of the time, gamers are joking about big titty goth girls. You know what I mean? Like, that's just,
True.
that's
We
just
all love them.
the code of true, man. I've been trying to find.
But if you go back to old 360, though, I was in. It's a whole different.
MW2 360 lobbies. Oh, I'm dead here.
I got you. But,
Oh hell yeah, you
No,
are.
I have self-rev. I have self-rev.
But yeah, I feel that since we're on the topic of video games, we could talk about quite a bit here. What are we thinking about Battlefield 2042? But we'll touch up on Halo a different day. I feel like because Halo is a big topic.
If
That's
the
a big one.
cinematic trailer they came out with is a representation of what they've done
The
with
actual
the
gameplay
game,
as well.
then it will actually. It looks to be promising. It definitely
Dude,
looks
yeah.
to be
Yeah,
remnant of like Battlefield 3 and 4. So
and that's the best part.
It looks super fun to play, honestly. It looks like it's going to be a blast for the boys. Something that we could play while maybe recording the podcast. You know, you never know.
because like look at like the recent Battlefield games, unfortunate.
Yeah, really, they were not great. And I feel like
Battlefield 1 was alright, I think.
I feel part of that has to do with just overall
Are you
really
kidding?
bad anti-cheats and
Oh no, I'm gonna go down.
not being able to because you have to at the end of the day you have to control your anti-cheat system. You have to have an anti-cheat
Oh
system.
no,
Yeah.
I lost my no. I lost my level 2 pack a punch fucking
Wonder
gun, fucking wonder weapon.
We all just do sit up here, Dakota.
Sad.
But yeah, I feel that with the time, with the times changing,
Ow.
it's definitely something that. Fuck, what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about video games. God
Talking
damn.
about
Talking about
Battlefield.
Battlefield, yeah.
Battlefield. With the
You gonna
times
die,
that have
baby.
changed of Battlefield, it's always been a love. I've always had a love for Battlefield, and especially after Battlefield 4, man. Battlefield 4 is such a good game, and if it's anything like Battlefield 4, I'm really excited for it. I hope
Shut
that
up and take my
it
money
does
if it's
everything.
Battlefield 4.
yeah, if it's Battlefield 4, basically, I'm all down. You know, Battlefield
Oh
4
yeah.
was super
No, I loved
fun.
Battlefield. I
Yeah.
put so much time into that game.
Yeah, that game was super fun. And it was kind of it was the competitor for Black Ops 2. You know what I mean? That's what that game felt like. Battlefield 4 was
Which was also at the time like the best Call of Duty.
yeah. It was the height of their successes, if you would say. And then they both took different directions, which I find ironic. One company said we're gonna go towards the future, and then one company said we're going to the past.
Towards the past. And then they flip-flopped.
They
Yeah.
flip-flopped it,
And
yeah.
they somehow managed to mess it up, I think, on both ends, and
Oh yeah.
certain issues.
Once Call of Duty went from I mean, once they went super into the future, they just lost all like they completely lost me at that point. Like I was
Yeah,
completely
that's the appeal to
uninterested.
children.
Yeah, like Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4 were both kind of the same.
Yeah,
in that
and
sense.
And they added like the super moves into Black Ops 3 and all that shit. Man, like what was I playing? Destiny? Like
it's kind of like Destiny, you know. And honestly, I feel like it opened their eyes a little bit, especially with battle royales. When Fortnite came out, I knew immediately Activision was like, "All right, we're making a battle royale."
oh
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
And real quick, speaking of that, can we just look at the distinct difference between Warzone and what was the other one called that they made on?
Blackout.
Blackout, yeah.
Look at the difference between those two. Blackout in comparison is like,
A joke.
yeah, it's nothing.
PUBG pre-release.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a really good way to put it.
I will say one thing really cool that was in Blackout that they should totally bring to fucking Warzone is the grappling hooks. Those things are sick.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. To get up top.
I really
buildings.
like.
Yeah.
I really like the zombie, like in the part of the map though,
I'm-
in Blackout.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting factor in my opinion. You know,
Yeah.
like you had a lot of interesting things going on with zombies and Blackout, but they did bring that to Modern Warfare, and I believe, in my opinion, they did it better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They definitely did it better, in their own way.
You can become the zombie.
Yeah.
Oh, the zombie like the humans versus zombies Warzone thing.
Yep. I
Yeah.
felt like they did it better in their own way.
No, yeah, that was definitely
sure.
like that was fun. I feel like they should make that a consistent game mode, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like they could actually put every game mode in Modern Warfare, just so you can have more choice.
I mean, honestly, yeah, that wouldn't be. The only thing is, it would make like few times longer for things, right? But
All right.
Who cares? You
but
want to play the game?
I think what we're gonna do here is we're gonna wrap up the first episode. Glad we got to again introduce at least 4 of the mostly main people that will be on here. And again, this is not gonna be too professional, at least for a while. We're just kind of sit up here, play some video games, talk a little bit about whatever's on our mind, and then we're gonna continue on with whatever's going on else. So hope you guys enjoyed it. This has been the Boys Experience, and we'll catch you in the next episode.